Hello. Trying to do a Ryan impression. Hello. He gets mad when we do it like that. Hello. Hey, everybody. It's me, Dominic Angel. Sorry if this episode, mini-sode, whatever we want to call it, is a little awkward. I'm recording this on my iPhone using a new mic setup. I'm also doing this solo, and I've never really done something like this before. So I've also tried to record this 3 times. This is why we have Josh, okay? This is why we have Josh. Make sure that everything's working. I literally recorded for anyway, I'm not going to get into it. We have a lot of stuff on the agenda today. First thing that I want to talk about is we have some announcements. First announcement is that we're going to be moving to a Wednesday 10 a.m. schedule, which is part of the reason why I'm putting this episode out, because I wanted to give you guys something so that you wouldn't be blindsided. Also, I want to make sure that as many people see it as possible, because I know not everybody follows on Instagram, which you could at Un Poquito Pod, or, is on the Discord, which you could. The link is in the description. It's free to join. And so just wanted to let you guys know so that there's no confusion. You don't got to be jumping around wondering what's going on. All of us work full time and our schedules are changing. We get busy right now. What works best for us, so that we're able to edit the episodes, record the episodes, edit the episodes, make the clips, promote, go live, do all the stuff that we have to do. Wednesdays works best for us right now. So we're going to do Wednesdays, 10 a.m., and that will be for the foreseeable future. If that changes, we might do something like this again, let you guys know what's going on. But yeah, that's what it's going to be for now. Also, very excited to announce March 19th, we're going to have our first live comedy event. It's something that we put together for you guys. We've been wanting to do more community type events. This is something that I've wanted to do since the beginning of doing a podcast. I love meeting people. I love meeting you guys. I love talking to you. So we're putting together a comedy event for you to come and hang out, meet each other, meet us. It's going to be great. We're featuring previous guests, Gigi Garcia, Mario Rodriguez, who I've seen them both recently, and they're just incredible. Mario just had a set at Chatterbox and he just blew the top off. It's going to be a great show. We're also featuring Joel Jimenez, who has not been on the podcast yet, but he will be soon. If you don't know who he is, he was the drummer for the Kill Tony band. He's also a door guy at the Comedy Store. He's a real sweet dude, super funny. You guys are going to love him. Also, our headliner, everybody's favorite, Ryan Reyes. And I got to tell you, Ryan's been on a tear lately. He has just a solid set right now. He's ready to fucking leave us on a national tour and just explode into fame and glamour. You guys are definitely going to want to catch what he's working on right now. Like I said, it's on March 19th in Altadena at PDA Space. That's Public Displays of Altadena. I said display. Tickets will be $10 for entry. There's no pre-sale. There's no discounts. You won't be upcharged at the door. So just come through. Tickets will be $10, and it's going to fill up quick. It's a small space. It's intimate. It's going to fill up quick, but it's going to be a great time. Also, if you can't come, or if you're not in LA and you still want to see the show, we will be live streaming it for $5. You'll get a link and you can join the party there. Also, if you are supporting us on Patreon at the $15 level, you will be getting free entry or a free stream link, whichever is better for you. If you plan on going, or if you're interested in receiving the link, just let us know. Send us an email, DM us on Patreon, whatever easier. We're going to be on the lookout for those things. But as a token of our appreciation for your support, you guys are getting free entry to this event. There's more stuff coming. There's definitely more stuff coming. We're working on merch. The designs are being finalized this week. So hopefully by next week, this is coming out the same day it's recorded. I'm trying to think of our schedule, but hopefully by next week, you guys will see what the designs are. We're going to have stickers. We're going to have shirts. Also, there's some people that already pre-ordered a shirt. You guys will be getting your shirts as soon as they're ready. If you would like to pre-order, you can send us an email or DM Ryan on our Discord. Once again, the link is in the description. It's free. But you can DM Ryan on our Discord. Tell him you want to get a shirt. He'll send you all the information. I think that's it for announcements. Oh, okay. So I don't normally do stuff like this. I wanted to put it out there in case, I want to help out my friend as much as I can. My friend Derek QXQX, he's a filmmaker and animator in Los Angeles. He's a really good friend of mine, really sweet dude. I love him a lot. And he's been having a tough time. He had a back injury last year that limited his mobility, and it also limited his ability to work. But he does t-shirt designs. He also does compositing, and he does all kinds of stuff. So if you need an animator, you can hit him up. I'll have his information in the description as well. But also, recently his scooter got stolen, and that's his main form of transportation. And it's also just, he's already so limited on being able to work. Having to replace this is going to be a big expense for him, and it's something that he needs, to live, to get to where he needs to go, to get to work and stuff like that. So there's a GoFundMe for him. I'm going to put that in the description, and I appreciate anybody that wants to support him. I'll have his stuff so you could check him out, see his face, and know that he's, not some fucking douchebag. Trying to help him out, get out of this funk. So thank you. And now we move on to the stuff that I really wanted to talk about. I know that I have a very clickbaity title. For those of you that know what it's referencing, for those of you that don't know, I'm sure that somebody will fill you in the comments. Leave a comment. Oh, that's actually what I really wanted to say too, is if you guys, want to support us, first of all, we appreciate everybody on our Patreon, and we're working on more things to do for the Patreon, more bonus content. We're going to be doing exclusive merch, stuff like the free entries into the events. We're going to be doing more for our Patreon. We just had to get some stability, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about in this. But one of the things that I wanted to say is that something that really helps us out is liking, sharing, and commenting. I know that you hear every YouTuber say that, but it's because that's what helps us. If you're somebody that listens to us on audio platforms, I understand not everybody wants to sit through a video or is able to, because you're probably listening to this on your way to work, while you're working, or on your drive, home or whatever. We definitely still want to hear from you. We want to know what your opinion is. So if you hear something you like or something that you disagree with, we love learning moments. We love teachable moments. Come to our YouTube and let us know what's happening. We want to hear from you guys. A big part of doing this podcast for me personally is the community aspect of it. I firmly believe that Un Poquito is something bigger than just me and Ryan. It's something that it's an energy. It's not to get all woo-woo hoity-toity on everybody, but I genuinely believe that we're doing this because to have that community space, and we're all a part of that. I need this just as much as you guys, and just as much as you guys have reached out to me and told me what I have to say means something to you. Genuinely, the stuff that when I meet people and they talk to me about their experience, and when they're in the Discord sharing, their stories, it means a lot to us. And I need to hear that stuff too. I benefit from that, just as much as you guys. So, leave a comment. Now we get into what I really wanted to talk about. And really, it's just, I had wanted to do this in when it happened, and I just never did. And, I took my break, and then came back, and I know it kind of caused a lot of confusion. I know people were leaving comments or sending DMs, and I told Ryan to not address it because I would address it, and then things happened and then they didn't. So I wanted to come and kind of clear the air and just explain what was going on. I'm going to start from the end and then go to the beginning and work backwards. But essentially, in December, after that episode aired, I kind of was freaking out, and I called Ryan, and I was just like, hey man, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I don't know if I can do this anymore. Like, I just don't have the spirit. I don't know what I said, but that's how I felt. I said, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And Ryan, was very supportive of me, and we talked about it and kind of just said like, hey, what if you take a break? We'll get Ricky, we'll talk to Ricky, see if he's available, see if he's willing to kind of be a guest host for you for a minute. And that way I have the time to clear my head and, focus on the things that I needed to focus on my new job, saving money, getting caught up financially, and just mentally, emotionally. That's one of the reasons why people thought that we like disappeared for a second. Cause I get it. We weren't promoting. And part of that was like, that was my end of the deal, was that I was going to cut clips. They would record, I would cut clips and, still work with everybody. But almost immediately I just realized like I have to take as much of a step back from this as I can, because it is stressing me out and it's becoming overwhelming. And I was dealing with a lot during this time. I was trying to do comedy, I was trying to do the podcast, trying to get work, trying to juggle a relationship that I was in. I'm not going to get into that. But things started to fall through the cracks. I ended up having to end the relationship because it just wasn't fair because of what I needed to do. And then the next thing to happen was, the most important thing for me was just being able to make my rent and having the time and energy to do that and not fuck up. Like, things just started falling through the cracks. I said that already. That's what happened. That's the reasons why I took the break. But what led up to that, just so that there's some understanding, and people have told me that I share too much, that I'm telling things that the audience doesn't really need to hear. But I think that personally, under the circumstances of how Un Poquito got started, I kind of want to clarify some things, because I feel that people have this perception of what was going on and what happened. I know that it's confusing for somebody to just leave and then come back and kind of act like nothing happened. I also am just a very anxious, paranoid person. So like, I just want there to be clarity. I don't ever want there to be confusion, because I don't want the perception to be like that I was giving up, that we were giving up. I was taking the money and then running and that's not what was happening. I want to be clear with everything that, this podcast is the thing that I'm most passionate about. And this is the thing that, I want to continue to do. So when we left Isimo, this is going to be a little bit boring getting into numbers, but when we left Isimo, Ryan and I were each getting $600, and that was from the Patreon, from the YouTube, and from the TikTok. At the end of it, all three of us were getting $600, so that was about $1,800 a month that we were making. But when we started Un Poquito, we were only getting Patreon money, and that was coming from the people that told us to start the podcast and to start a Patreon so that they could help us get started. And that thing, first of all, that was a thing for us, was that when Isimo broke up, when we left Isimo, we weren't sure if we were going to work together or not. The idea was that Ryan would do his thing, I would do my own thing, we would have our solo podcast, and then once we gained stability, we would come together and start a new project. But when we were on the TikTok lives, there was an overwhelming support for us to get started as soon as possible. And they told us, like, start a Patreon, start a GoFundMe, start do an Amazon wish list. So, we'll help you guys get started. And honestly, if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be here, because I don't even know if we would have ever started working together again, if I'm being 100% honest. I think when you work with somebody that is toxic, that they make you believe that you're incapable of doing something without them. When we got the response that we did, we wanted to follow through on that. And that support, as it meant so much to me, and it filled me with so much optimism. Not that it was a bad thing, but I think for me, I was just like, I wasn't being realistic of what we were capable of. We did have to learn a lot. And also just the fact that we were functioning, the podcast was functioning on 1/3 of what it was functioning on before, right? When we first got started. Because we had to regrow our TikTok profile. We had to gain monetization on YouTube, which took us about 4 months to do. So we were just functioning on what we were getting from Patreon. And in the beginning, Ryan and I had agreed I would get the Patreon because I had a large amount of rent to pay. Ryan at the time didn't need it. But the agreement would be that I would get the Patreon money until I got a full-time job and that I had stability. And then that's how I would pay back Ryan, is to give him everything that came in until the podcast grew enough where we could each split it up fairly. And so that was what was happening. But the thing is, as we were producing the podcast and as we were growing, we were putting all this effort into growing the podcast, I was realizing that I couldn't do all the things that I wanted, but I believed that I could still. And that's a lot of the reasons why I feel like I would say things, I would make announcements of the things that we were going to do, the things that we were planning, and them not happening. Case in point, my hair has not been dyed. And I've been, since the beginning, we had met our Patreon goal, and I was like, I'm going to dye it platinum. That's what people voted on. But two things were happening. One, we wanted to work with Danny Moon, and we couldn't make the scheduling work. But the other thing was that I was like, dyeing your hair platinum is for me. I'm like, I don't want to take the risk in doing that. I would rather get it done by a professional. But I also just didn't have the money to do it professionally. But like I said, I'm saying that now. And I'm sure if I would have said that then, people would have been understanding. It could have been as simple as just like, oh, why don't you just do a different fucking color then? Like, but I was like, I am the kind of person that, like, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it the way that I said I was going to do it. And that's been a fault of mine, of just like, if I can't do it this way, then I'm going to put it off until I can. And then it doesn't happen, right? Stuff like that, stuff like the Patreon videos. We weren't putting out Patreon videos, and I just wish that back then I would have explained what was going on. Like really, like, hey guys, it's gonna take us a minute to be able to do the Patreon videos. And that's why now we have our Patreon episodes. We're going to be doing exclusive merch. We're working on stuff. Now we have the stability within the main podcast that we are working on things that we're going to be putting together part of our Patreon, part of the benefits of joining us on Patreon. The thing with me is always when people give you their money, you don't have to do that. Nobody has to do that. You could give your money to anybody. You could buy a cheeseburger instead. Like, you could do whatever the fuck you want. And so when people make that choice to give their money to me, I wish I would have been more clear of what I was dealing with. But I'm a very insecure person, and so I don't want it to seem like I'm constantly struggling. I also was like, when I was looking for work, I was being given these job offers that was like, oh, this is going to work out. This is like, I'm fine. But either the job was not what was being advertised to me. My hours were not what was being advertised to me, or the job offer was just mysteriously rescinded. And it wasn't until October that a friend of mine helped me get the job that I have now. And even this job has some issues with my scheduling, because for what I want to do, My schedule kind of sucks. It's not the worst schedule, but I work nights and weekends until 1 a.m. It's just kind of crazy for me to handle too much. But now we have Josh helping us out. Very grateful for him. We have Ricky on board, Ryan. And also I want to say, I should have said this at the beginning, is that I'm so grateful for the guys for being understanding, and for letting me take the break that I did, and for doing the job that they did, because it was a learning curve for all of them. I was kind of a behind the scenes leadership role. Ryan is the face of the show, and I'm kind of doing the logistical stuff behind the scenes. And I was like, I can't do this. And they figured it out and they made it work. So I'm really proud of them and really thankful for them for providing me the space to get better. I kept making these announcements and I kept saying all this stuff, and it just became clear was that I needed help, and or that I needed a break, and I was putting it off because so many good things were happening with the podcast. We had Martin on, we had Felipe Esparza. I was able to, do a guest spot for Felipe, and that was amazing. But at the same time, it just felt like I couldn't enjoy it because I was still dealing with so much stuff. On top of all of that, I'm not going to talk about any of the details of what happened between me and Gerardo. I'm not going to make any comments about things that have happened since. I do want to talk about stuff that I was dealing with because of the breakup. I'm not going to try to convince anybody of anything, or I don't want to continue the drama. There's no need for any of that at this point. We're doing the things that we're doing, and Ryan and I have been focused on Un Poquito since starting the show. This is all that we care about. I'm not going to say that I wasn't still dealing with stuff from the breakup with Isimo. And part of it is that, when something traumatic or when something this hard kind of happens to you, I think, at least for me, what I did, but I think people have a tendency to tell themselves that you're okay with things that you're not really okay with, just to get through the moment because you're trying to keep moving forward. And that's what happened with me. Having talked to people about the breakup after it happened, and even before the breakup, having talked to people knowing and letting them know the issues that were going on and the things that were being said and the stuff that they were telling me about Gerardo or about this situation, and not put downs. None of this is put downs. And I'm sorry for being very vague about this. People were telling me things that were very reassuring and that were validating my experience, but then they were going and behaving differently. I know that I said I wasn't going to comment about the stuff with Gerardo, but just to give a little idea of what I'm talking about so that I'm not being super vague. The thing that is most upsetting to me is that even setting aside all of the personal drama between Gerardo and myself. Gerardo is somebody that has a lot of potential and that is good at what he does, but he's also somebody that has a lot of toxic tendencies and has abusive tendencies. And within our friend group, he has a reputation. He'll do or say things that if a stranger did them to you, you might start a fight with him. Or you might just be like, I'm not talking to that fool. That guy's an asshole or whatever. But within the friend group, within the comedy community, a lot of people are like, well, that's just Gerardo. And I've been one of them. I was one of them. And I was like, oh my God, why would you say oh my God, don't here he goes again. I can't believe he's saying this shit. Oh, it's so embarrassing. And nobody was calling him out on stuff. Very few people were calling him out on anything. And for me, that's what's most upsetting, is seeing that happen. Because I will say that of all the things that I regret through my time with Isimo, because I appreciate all the things that came with doing Isimo and all the people that I met through the show. But the thing that I most regret is placating that behavior and not standing up for other people more, and for not voicing how I really felt, because I was like, well, Isimo is what I'm doing and it's successful and this is what the people want and I have to figure out how to make it work. There was a lot of stuff that happened that I wish that I had the confidence to stand up for it then. And so to all the people that have been hurt by something that happened on the podcast that I didn't confront, I apologize to those people, because I feel like you deserve better. You shouldn't have to sit through a show and being attacked as a listener or as a guest. And yeah, so that's probably as much as I will say about that situation, and that's probably the last time I'll say anything about it. That's as much as you're getting from me, because like I said, I'm just trying to move forward with all of this stuff. I'm really excited about the stuff that we have going on for Un Poquito, even though I took the break. But coming back in, I came in reinvigorated, and the guys are excited, and we have a lot of exciting guests lined up. We have a lot of exciting episodes lined up. We have plans for more live events. We have plans for more projects that we're going to be doing outside of the podcast. Stuff that I'm not going to announce. I'm just letting you know what's in our mind. I don't want to announce anything because I don't want to fall back on things. That's one thing that I've learned through all of this, is just wait till it's ready. If this gets back to Gerardo and he disagrees with anything I have to say, first of all, I'm not trying to stir up trouble. I'm not trying to stretch out conflict so that I can boost my numbers. I will say, Gerardo, if you disagree with anything that I have to say and you want to set the record straight, would love to have you on Un Poquito. I'm begging you. You're always welcome. You have my number. But other than that, like I said, that's the last that I'm going to say about it. Because I wasn't processing these feelings then. I was focusing on the podcast. I was focusing on getting things done. And I wasn't processing the things that I have issues with and the ways in which that year with Gerardo affected me. And then the experience of the breakup affected me. I was putting it off and it was eating at me. And it was affecting my friendships with people that supported me. It was affecting my relationships with people that cared about me, that were on my side. And I started to lash out at people just for bringing up, projects that Gerardo was part of. And that's not fair to anybody. They don't deserve that. That's something that I should have worked out, that I should have gone to therapy and talked to somebody about. Or I should have just been open and honest with it when it happened and allowed myself to process these emotions. I wasn't doing that. So I don't know. I don't want to end this episode on a downer. Like I said, I feel very refreshed. Even though the break was hard and it set us back a little bit, I'm glad that I did it, because I couldn't handle my life and the podcast then, but I can now. I know that I can, and I know that we're going to do great things. We're talking to people behind the scenes and figuring out ways to grow our platform and collaborate with people that are going to take us to the next level. And it's going to happen in time. It's not going to all happen right away. And there's going to be speed bumps along the road. But it's going to get done. We're going to keep doing this. Like I said, I'm this podcast is what I care the most about, more than my photography, more than even my stand-up, to be honest. I love doing stand-up, and that's always going to be a part of me, and I'm always going to want to perform for people. But the joy that I get out of the community of that this podcast has brought out is beyond anything. And so if you guys have been supporting us from the beginning, if you're a new supporter, if anything that I've ever said has resonated with you, I am so appreciative for you guys being here and being part of this journey. I'm excited to see where we go from here. There's a lot of cool things that we have in mind, and it's going to start with March 19th. Shameless plug. It's going to start with March 19th, our first live comedy show. From there, we're going to be doing more live stuff in time, but we're going to be doing more stuff. So if you want to hang out with us, we'd love to meet you. And we'd love to have you there. March 19th, Altadena, PTA space. Tickets are in the bio. If you made it this far, tell me something that you're excited about for yourself. I'd love to hear it. From me, at un poquito, don't fly.